You killed him. Wife stole $800,000 insurance until I found son's hidden lockbox. The day I found $250,000 in cash under my dead son's bed, I realized everything I thought I knew about his death was a lie. My name is Roland Thatcher, 52 years old. For 20 years, I worked as a warehouse supervisor at Brennan Logistics. Honest, hard work that put food on the table. My son, Colby, was 24 when he died. He had just started his career as a dispatcher at Ridgefield Trucking Company, and he loved it. He was the kind of kid who called every Sunday night, asked for advice on everything from changing oil to handling coworkers. My ex-wife, Jolene, used to be the love of my life. We met at 23, married 2 years later, and had Colby after 3 long years of trying. For 2 decades, I thought our marriage was solid. We had our ups and downs, sure, but I never imagined the betrayal that was coming. Jolene worked in real estate, always chasing the next big sale, always wanting more. She was beautiful, 5 feet 6 inches, auburn hair perfectly styled, green eyes that once looked at me with love, but later only with disappointment. My older brother, Dwayne, runs a small auto repair shop on the south side of town. He's 3 years older, built like a linebacker, with hands permanently stained with grease. Never married, says his shop is his wife and the cars his kids. He adored Colby, taught him how to rebuild an engine at 16, never missed a single football game. The courtroom that destroyed me. The courtroom was packed the day my life fell apart. Jolene stood at the plaintiff's table in a black dress that probably cost more than I made in a month. She dabbed fake tears while her lawyer, Melvin Ashford, played the part of righteous crusader. He was the kind of attorney you see on billboards promising to get you what you deserve. Your Honor, Ashford began. Roland Thatcher's negligent attitude toward workplace safety directly led to his son's death. He raised Colby to believe that speed mattered more than caution. His recklessness killed his own child. Then Jolene pointed at me. You killed him, Roland. Your negligence killed our boy. You taught him that safety rules didn't matter. Every word fell like a knife. I'd always been a stickler for safety, fired men for not wearing hard hats, written people up for improper loading. But Jolene had witnesses. 3 of my former coworkers swore they'd heard me say things I never said, seen me do things I'd never done. When the judge's gavel came down, it sounded like thunder. The court finds in favor of the plaintiff. The full life insurance payout of $800,000 is awarded to Mrs. Jolene Thatcher, along with all marital assets. I lost everything that day. The house Colby grew up in, the savings we'd built over 20 years, and my reputation. The local paper ran the headline. Father's negligence contributes to son's death. I became that man. The father who killed his own son through carelessness. The discovery. 3 months later, I was living in Colby's old apartment because I couldn't stand being anywhere else. While cleaning one night, I found a locked metal box hidden beneath his bed. My hands trembled as I pried it open. Inside were stacks of $100 bills, $250,000 total, 6 flash drives labeled with dates, and a handwritten note in Colby's neat printing. Dad, if you're reading this, I'm gone. They'll probably make it look like an accident. The money is from them. I took it as insurance. The drives have everything. Start with the oldest one. Use the money to fight back and clear your name. I know they'll blame you somehow. I'm sorry, I didn't listen when you told me to stay out of it. I love you, Dad. Make them pay. Colby. When I plugged in the first flash drive, my world stopped. There were videos, spreadsheets, and audio recordings, evidence of drug trafficking, money laundering, and conspiracy inside Ridgefield Trucking. And in one video, I saw something I'll never forget. Jolene, sitting with her lawyer, planning our son's murder for the insurance money. That's when I finally understood. Colby hadn't died in an accident. He'd been murdered, and the woman I'd shared my life with for 26 years had orchestrated it. Before it all fell apart, life before the tragedy was simple but good. I'd wake up every morning at 5:30, pour coffee into the blue mug Colby gave me for Father's Day when he was 10, and head to work by 6. The warehouse crew respected me because I worked alongside them. That's how I'd raise Colby. To lead by example, to work hard, to always do the right thing. He was proud of his new job. Dad, They're trusting me with dispatch operations for the entire northern route. 30 trucks, he told me his first week. Every Sunday, we had breakfast at Murphy's Diner, a tradition since Jolene started working weekend open houses. Murphy, the owner, joked he should name a booth after us. That last breakfast, Colby pushed his eggs around the plate. "Dad, something weird's been happening at work," he said. "What kind of weird?" "Some of the drivers are making extra stops not on the manifests. They're using more fuel than they should, and the GPS shows stops at unknown addresses." I told him to report it to his supervisor, Frank Newcomb, and not to get involved. "You knew there, son. Don't play detective." He nodded, but didn't look convinced. "Yeah, you're right. It's probably nothing." Then he looked up with a strange seriousness. "Hey, Dad, if anything ever happens to me, I want you to know everything I did was to make you proud." I laughed it off. "You're 24, healthy as a horse. The most dangerous thing in your job is a paper cut." He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. The beginning of the end. Things with Jolene had been tense for months. She wanted me to apply for an operations manager position, more money, but a desk job. "Roland, we could have so much more," she'd say. "A bigger house, better cars, real vacations." "We have everything we need," I'd tell her. "A good home, reliable cars, and our son's doing well. What more could you want?" Her answer was always the same. "More. My brother Dwayne warned me. She looks at you like you're holding her back. Be careful." 2 weeks after that breakfast with Colby, the phone rang at work. It was Frank Newcomb. "Mr. Thatcher, there's been an accident. You need to come to Mercy Hospital right away." By the time I arrived, Colby was gone. A shipping container had come loose and crushed him. The investigation wrapped up in 72 hours, too fast. They blamed Colby for not following safety protocols. A week after the funeral, a process server delivered divorce papers to me at work in front of everyone. Jolene was also suing me for wrongful death, claiming my negligence as a father caused Colby's accident. Her lawyer, Ashford, built a story that made me out to be reckless and proud of it. They even had 3 coworkers swear I'd said safety rules were for desk jockeys, and that I told OSHA to kiss my ass. All lies. When I tried explaining that these people had personal grudges, money owed, disciplinary write-ups, denied promotions, my lawyer just sighed. "Can you prove that, Roland?" I couldn't. It was their word against mine. And so the courtroom, filled with reporters and gawkers, watched me lose everything. My family, my home, my name. But that was before I found the lockbox. Before I knew the truth. Now I have the evidence. And I have nothing left to lose. She walked in wearing a sleek black designer suit, her auburn hair perfectly styled, tissues already in her hand. She looked every inch the grieving widow and mother. Her lawyer, Melvin Ashford, was brilliant in his ruthlessness. He painted me as a man who valued speed over safety, productivity over precaution. "Ladies and gentlemen of the court," he began smoothly, "Roland Thatcher spent 20 years teaching his son that rules were meant to be broken, that safety was secondary to getting the job done fast, and that reckless philosophy led directly to Colby Thatcher's preventable death. When Jolene took the stand, her performance was Oscar-worthy. Roland always cut corners on safety," she said, tears streaming down her face. "He taught Colby that safety regulations were suggestions. He'd come home bragging about loading trucks faster than anyone because he knew which rules to ignore. Our son learned from his father, and it killed him." Ashford stepped closer. "Mrs. Thatcher, did your husband ever express concern about workplace safety?" "Never," she replied. "He said safety meetings were a waste of time. He told Colby that real men didn't need handrails or safety zones, that those were for weaklings." Then she looked straight at me, her eyes hard beneath the tears. "I beg him to be careful, to teach our son properly. But Roland thought he knew better than everyone. And now our baby is gone." My lawyer's cross-examination was a disaster. Jolene had rehearsed every answer. Every challenge he posed, she had a calm, polished response ready. The witnesses were even worse. Their stories were perfectly coordinated. Jerry claimed he'd overheard specific conversations, complete with dates and times. Monica produced a journal where she'd supposedly documented my unsafe practices out of concern. Rick, the third, painted himself as a whistleblower, someone who tried to report me but was silenced because management liked my productivity. My brother Dwayne wasn't even allowed to testify in my defense. Biased, the judge said, because he was family. My spotless 20-year safety record at Brennan Logistics was dismissed as irrelevant. The awards I'd earned were brushed off as participation trophies. Finally, the judge delivered his verdict, swift and merciless. The evidence clearly shows a pattern of negligent behavior and teaching that contributed to this young man's death. The court awards the full life insurance payout of $800,000 to Mrs. Jolene Thatcher, along with all marital assets, including the family home, savings accounts, and investments. Outside the courthouse, Jolene stood before the cameras, dabbing her eyes again. $800,000 won't bring back my son, she told reporters. But at least justice was served. Maybe Roland will think about what he's done. Maybe other fathers will learn from his mistakes. I stood there watching the woman I'd loved for 26 years celebrate my destruction, and wondered how I'd ever been so blind to who she really was. Aftermath. I moved into a studio apartment on the wrong side of town, the kind of place where the radiator clanged all night and the neighbors screamed through paper-thin walls. For 3 months, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Colby's face at that last breakfast, heard his voice try to tell me something was wrong while I brushed him off. The guilt ate at me like acid. Dwayne did his best to help. He brought groceries, forced me to eat, and sat in silence beside me when words weren't enough. "You need to fight this, Roland," he said one night. "This isn't right. Jolene's lying, and we both know it." "With what money?" I muttered. "She took everything. I can't even afford an appeal." The nightmares were the worst. I'd dream of Colby calling for help while I stood frozen, unable to move, unable to save him. I'd wake up screaming his name until the neighbors banged on the walls, yelling at me to shut up. I started drinking, something I'd never done before. Whiskey became my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The call. Then one morning, 3 months after the trial, the phone rang. "Mr. Thatcher, this is Paul Breener from Riverside Apartments," the voice said. "Your son's lease still has 2 months left. I need to know what you want to do with his belongings." Jolene, of course, hadn't lifted a finger. She was too busy spending the insurance money. Dwayne had already seen her around town, driving a new Mercedes, flashing a diamond bracelet, bragging about a condo near the lake. The thought of strangers throwing away Colby's things made my chest tighten. "I'll take over the lease," I said before I could stop myself. "I'll move in and handle it." Paul hesitated. "Are you sure that's healthy, Mr. Thatcher?" "I need to do this," I told him. "It's what I need. Colby's apartment." Dwayne helped me move what little I had. He wasn't convinced it was a good idea. Living in his space, that's heavy, Roland. "Are you sure?" "I need to feel close to him," I said. "It's all I have left." Jolene took everything else. She can't take this. Walking into Colby's apartment was like stepping back in time. His coffee mug still sat by the sink, a ring of dry coffee at the bottom. His jacket hung by the door. The calendar on the wall was frozen on the month he died. Breakfast with Dad, written in red on every Sunday. The place still smelled like him, his cologne mixed with the cinnamon candles he liked to burn. For 2 days, I just sat in his living room, surrounded by his things. His bookshelf was full of mystery novels and work manuals. His PlayStation sat paused mid-game. His work boots rested by the door, laces still tied from the last time he'd kicked them off. On the 3rd day, I decided to pack up his bedroom. I needed to do something before the silence drove me mad. I started with his closet, folding each shirt carefully, remembering when we'd bought them. The one from his college graduation, the tie from his first day at Ridgefield. Then I stripped the bed and lifted the mattress to check underneath. That's when I saw it, pushed far against the wall covered in dust. A metal lockbox, about the size of a briefcase, sealed with a combination lock. At first, I hesitated. It felt wrong to invade his privacy, but something about the way it was hidden made my pulse quicken. I sat on the floor and started trying combinations. His birthday, 0415. Nothing. Our old home address. Nothing. His social security number. Still nothing. And that's when I knew, whatever was inside that box, Colby hadn't wanted anyone to find it easily. Then I remembered the day Colby got his first bike. He was 7 years old, July 15th, 2008. He fell 6 times before finally riding it down the street without help. When he came back, his smile was brighter than the sun. "Did you see me, Dad? Did you see me go?" Click. The lock opened. Inside the box, the first thing I saw was money. Neat stacks of $100 bills bundled tight. My hand shook as I counted. $250,000. Where had my son gotten $250,000 in cash? Beneath the money were 6 flash drives, each labeled with dates from the 3 months before his death. At the very bottom lay a white envelope with Dad written on it in Colby's handwriting. I opened it with trembling fingers. His words changed everything I thought I knew about his death. "Dad, if you're reading this, I'm gone. They'll probably make it look like an accident. The money is from them. I took it as insurance. The drives have everything. Start with the oldest one. Use the money to fight back, to clear your name. I know they'll blame you somehow. I'm sorry I didn't listen when you told me to stay out of it. I love you, Dad. Make them pay." The evidence. My laptop was in the car. I sprinted down 3 flights of stairs, grabbed it, and ran back up. My hand was shaking so badly I could barely plug in the first flash drive, dated 3 months before Colby's death. A folder opened with video files, audio recordings, and spreadsheets. The first video was dashcam footage from a Ridgefield truck. The timestamp read 2:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. The truck pulled into an abandoned warehouse where 3 unmarked vans waited. Men transferred boxes from the truck to the vans, boxes not listed on any manifest. The second video showed the same thing, different location. The third, fourth, and fifth showed a clear pattern. Ridgefield Trucking was moving illegal cargo off the books. Then I opened a spreadsheet. Colby had documented everything with precision: truck numbers, driver names, dates, times, and estimated values. It was a meticulous record of a multi-million-dollar smuggling operation, using legitimate routes as cover. The audio files were worse. In the first, I heard Frank Newcomb, Colby's supervisor. The new kid in dispatch is asking questions. He's comparing manifests to GPS logs and fuel receipts. Another voice answered, cold and familiar. "Handle it. Make it clean. We can't afford exposure." My blood ran cold. That voice belonged to Melvin Ashford, Jolene's lawyer. The second flash drive had more evidence: photos of altered manifests, financial records, and driver payments for special deliveries. The third drive contained audio from meetings where the entire operation was discussed in detail. Ridgefield wasn't a trucking company. It was a front for drug trafficking, moving shipments from Mexico through legitimate freight routes. The betrayal. The fourth flash drive made me physically sick. It was a recording of Ashford and Newcomb talking about the Thatcher problem. They discussed making Colby's death look like an accident, using a container that had been deliberately weakened. They planned every detail: the timing, the location, even a backup plan in case the first attempt didn't kill him. Then came the fifth flash drive. Its single file was labeled Mom's Betrayal. I almost couldn't open it. Some part of me already knew what I was about to see, but I had to know. It was a hidden video recorded by Colby in our living room 2 weeks before his death. Jolene sat on the couch we'd bought for our 10th anniversary. Across from her was Melvin Ashford. I was at work that day. Colby must have set up the camera before leaving. "Ashford, the insurance policy is worth $800,000. Once your son has his accident, you file for divorce immediately. Blame Roland for teaching him unsafe practices. I'll handle the witnesses." Jolene, "And you're sure Colby won't suffer?" Ashford, "It'll be quick. The accident's already arranged. Your husband takes the fall for negligence. You get the money, and we disappear together. I've already got a place in Costa Rica." Jolene, "What about Roland? I don't want him dead, just ruined." Ashford, "He'll be destroyed but alive. Everyone will think he killed his own son through incompetence. He'll probably drink himself to death within a year from guilt." Then Jolene laughed. She actually laughed. "He always was weak. 26 years of mediocrity. I deserve better. We deserve better." They kissed, right there on the couch where our family had watched movies, where Colby opened Christmas presents, where we celebrated his college acceptance. The final flash drive had just one file, a video of Colby, recorded the night before he died. Dad, I know about Mom. I confronted her tonight. She panicked and made a call. I heard her say it has to happen tomorrow. I'm scared, but I can't run. They'll just find me. I've hidden copies of everything with Uncle Dwayne, just in case. If something happens, know that I love you. You were the best father anyone could ask for. You taught me to do the right thing, and that's what I'm trying to do now. Justice. I called Dwayne immediately. My hand was shaking so badly I could barely dial. Roland, thank God, he said before I could speak. Colby gave me a package 3 weeks before he died. Told me only to open it if something happened. I've been waiting for your call. He knew Dwayne. I choked out. He knew they were going to kill him. Jolene and Ashford planned everything. It's all on video. Bring everything to the shop, he said. We're going to the FBI tonight. The FBI took us seriously the moment they saw the first video. Agents Patricia Greer and Marcus Coleman worked through the night, reviewing every file, every recording, every document Colby had collected. By morning, a full task force had been mobilized. Your son built a bulletproof case, Agent Greer told me. He exposed a multi-million-dollar drug ring and documented his own murder conspiracy. This is one of the most thorough investigations I've ever seen. The fallout. The arrest began at dawn. 17 members of the trafficking network were taken into custody. Frank Newcomb was arrested at home, still in his pajamas. Several truck drivers were stopped mid-route. Their vehicles searched. Over $12 million in heroin was found hidden inside false compartments. Ashford tried to run. He made it to the airport, but was arrested at the gate with a one-way ticket to Brazil, 3 fake passports, and $2 million in offshore accounts. Jolene disappeared the same day. I'd moved into Colby's apartment, probably sensing something was wrong. The FBI tracked her to a resort in Mexico, living under the name Jennifer Morrison with one of Ashford's associates, Dennis Vale. Mexican authorities arrested her during a spa treatment. News footage showed her screaming her innocence as they dragged her away in handcuffs. The trial. During the trial, the full truth came out. Ashford had been running the drug operation for 5 years, using his law practice as a front. He'd seduced Jolene 6 months before Colby's death, promising her wealth beyond her dreams if she helped eliminate the problem. They had planned everything, from the accident to the lawsuit that would destroy me. Jolene broke down on the witness stand. No one was supposed to get hurt, she sobbed. Ashford promised Colby would just be injured, enough for insurance. When I found out he was dead, I wanted to stop, but Ashford said it was too late. The prosecutor's voice was cold as ice. You sold your son's life for money, Mrs. Thatcher. You destroyed your husband's name while your son's body was barely cold. There's no version of this story where you're not a monster. The witnesses, Jerry, Monica, and Rick, all confessed to perjury. Ashford had paid each of them $50,000 to lie about my safety record. They received 2 years in federal prison. Jolene was sentenced to life without parole for conspiracy to commit murder and drug trafficking. Ashford received the death penalty. Colby's legacy. The insurance company returned the $800,000 to me, plus damages for fraud. With additional settlements, I received nearly $2 million. I didn't keep most of it. The $800,000 went to create the Colby Thatcher Foundation, providing legal aid for families who lose loved ones to violence. The rest funded a scholarship at Colby's Community College for criminal justice students. The $250,000 he'd taken from the traffickers became the Colby Thatcher Center for Workplace Safety, which trains workers to recognize and report illegal activity. In 2 years, we've helped expose 4 criminal operations. At Jolene's sentencing, she looked at me through tears. Roland, I'm sorry. I was blinded by greed. Can you ever forgive me? I stared at her, this stranger wearing my wife's face, and said the only truth left in me. Colby died believing in justice. He died protecting others from the poison you helped spread. You didn't just kill our son. You killed everything good we ever had. I'll never forgive you. But I thank God Colby was nothing like you. Epilogue. Every Sunday, Dwayne and I visit Colby's grave. We bring breakfast from Murphy's Diner, 3 plates, and sit there talking to him, telling him about the lives his evidence saved and the families his sacrifice protected. My son knew death was coming, but he stood his ground. He documented everything, protected the truth, and made sure justice would prevail, even if he couldn't. He didn't just clear my name. He saved countless lives. Colby Thatcher became the hero I always knew he was, and his legacy lives on in every life saved by his courage. Like this story. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left.